Zeidon Alkinani, a lecturer of Middle Eastern politics at Georgetown University here in Qatar. You were with me listening live to the various leaders speaking in Sharm el-Sheikh, including listening to Donald Trump's speech there. And I want to sort of pick out that point he made once again, where he talked about how the hardest part of the job is now over. And now that the easy part is the rebuilding, he sort of left out the sort of 10 other steps in between. What did you make of those comments? Is he just ignorant of the challenges ahead, or he's just not wanting to mention them at this point?
Well, one cannot deny that this is a major achievement and milestone and a major humanitarian relief for the people who live in Gaza who've been going through a genocide for the past 2 years. However, peace in the Middle East is a very big term. It includes many other countries. Gaza is not the only part of Palestine that is under occupation. The genocide for the past 2 years was not the only issue. The occupation for the past 7, 8 decades was not the only issue that we're going through. Israel has committed and conducted military aggression across the region. In recent years, it's been conducting such attacks against Lebanon, against Syria, against many other countries. Thinking that the ceasefire and the truce and suggestions and proposals in the future will end the longer issue, the overarching issue that has been going on for years, can be very contradicting to the reality.
Zeidon, when we talked in the past, you said one of the biggest challenges now is the lack of trust in Israel. The fact that we've had Donald Trump in the region, in Israel, in the Knesset, talking about the end of the war, does that not send a message to the Netanyahu government that the war is indeed over?
It's a message. It's a very strong message from Netanyahu, from Trump's administration. It's the attendance and the involvement of so many different regional, international actors will definitely make it so much harder for Netanyahu to commit another attack against Gaza or to the beyond region. However, there has been a lot of political and institutional and legal limitations that have tried and attempted to put an end to the conflict, that have tried and attempted to put an end to the occupation. We can't forget the Oslo Treaty that happened a few decades ago, and that was still undermined and ignored by the same Israeli government and political elite. We cannot pretend that the Israeli military aggression would end just because a peace in the Middle East peace summit with the attendance of so many prominent global and regional leaders would put an end to it. However, we can definitely predict that peace might occur in the following months following this peace summit, but we cannot predict and assume that Israel will change its policy and its course of actions suddenly, the one that it has been committing for the past few decades.
I just want to make reference to the pictures we are seeing on our screens. Zeidon, Donald Trump, the US president, is on his way out of Sharm el-Sheikh. He has just boarded his plane, or is about to board his plane. I believe he's just arriving there in his car I believe he actually is already on the plane. So he is, this summit is over, essentially, Zeidon. So we've seen all the celebrations, we've seen the strong language around peace today, but the question now is what happens next. And what is critical to what happens next, as we've had many, many people say over the course of today, is what Donald Trump does next is going to be critical. Will he continue to apply pressure on Israel, like the pressure we've seen today? Because that's going to be key to what happens in terms of peace in Gaza.
It really depends on the incentives here. One of the major incentives from Trump is the business operations and the enterprises and the projects they want to implement and execute in Gaza. Knowing Trump's intentions in many different other scenarios around the world, business and economics is a very major interest.
But it's not just business, it's his legacy. He's talked a lot about, you know, peace in the Middle East is his legacy. He wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Is it not in his interest to make sure that 2 weeks from now we don't have Israel going back into Gaza and starting its war?
It certainly has been, according to the previous attempts, but it's also in his interest to ensure that Israel doesn't weaken. It's also in his interest that Israel does not become less capable of being able to have the military capabilities to attack other countries in the region that it believes is a threat to its national security. Gaza, or the ceasefire in Gaza, is not the only solution here. We have a much bigger picture, which is Israel's attitude and actions and expansionist agenda, and try to create a greater Israel map that doesn't only include Gaza and Palestine, but includes many other countries that are recognized by the international law and the United Nations, and includes many other countries that are also allies of the United States economically and politically.
Zeidon, really good to get your thoughts and analysis. Zeidon Alkinani, lecturer of Middle Eastern politics at Georgetown University here in Qatar.